Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I lied. In fact, I did not win the Goliath with the slowest car in the game. I sort of came close though. This is the painfully long and difficult race in the Isetta 300 Export. Now, in choosing the car, I simply went to the bottom of the D class and chose the one with the slowest speed stat because I didn't feel like testing 50 cars to see which one was the slowest, so you'll have to forgive me for that. In terms of upgrades, I looked for those which would only decrease my stats, which didn't give me much, but I was able to increase my weight and slightly decrease my lateral Gs. The race started much like any other, with a roar of engines and screeching tyres against the tar, but much slower and quieter than usual. I'll mention the added difficulty settings now, which along with the terribly slow car to drive, was added to make my experience much worse. The AI was set to as hard as they get, all the driving assistance was turned off, and damage was on. Now back to the race. Now, if you aren't aware, these races take a long time, and not a whole lot happens in them. But in the first 2.5 minutes, this guy manages to smash his window and scrape up the side of his car. It's not like the other vehicles were moving very fast, he had plenty of time to get out of the way of crashing. However, as we keep on going, I got my first notion of luck, when some less powerful cars struggled going uphill, and I managed to squeeze my way past 10th, all the way up to 6th. Just. Honestly, it felt like my car was going to give up and stall on the hill. After gaining some speed around a corner, we even managed to get into 5th. It was smooth sailing at that point until I managed to pull the most unexpected and exciting maneuver. I somehow drifted this car, and that drift was all I needed. I pushed my way into 4th and was slowly closing in on 3rd, when my mum rang me and I had to stop racing for like 10 minutes. So yeah, but then I was back and I was ready to win. And the positions of the cars didn't shift for quite a while, and the top 3 racers were slightly ahead of me, with a decent convoy trailing behind my very slow car. It wasn't until we once again got to a hill that I managed to get dirty and take 3rd by cutting the corner. It was at that point I realised dirty racing was the only way to win this. So I started cutting in on the driver line, and suddenly I stole 1st place from an astronaut and a normal looking guy. Not much happened for the next few minutes, until I was going downhill and I got distracted. I looked back and realised there were 2 cars behind me, but they were in 3rd and 4th place. What happened to 2nd? That's right, I was now in 2nd. In my ignorance, Batty Blue here managed to overcome great odds and reduce me to nothing. And my god were they moving. It wasn't for long though, as they once again fell victim to a hill and I reclaimed my lead. This lasted a while until Batty Blue decided that they didn't want to be behind me and literally just went faster than everyone else, followed closely by an old friend, Craig. There's not really much more to the race now. Batty Blue was moving so fast that it didn't take long for me to lose them on my mini-map. I managed to main 3rd for like the next 15 minutes until I once again looked behind me and saw my next nemesis, who quickly took 3rd from me, leaving me in 4th, where I finished the race. This was not a fun race. It was a race that made me feel worthless and overall quite bored. I managed to finish the race in about 40 minutes and 20 seconds, 5 minutes slower than Batty Blue. I just don't understand how that car got so fast. And that was that. That was my painstaking adventure to have the slowest race of my life.